Hey everyone, and welcome to our channel. This week we had some pretty cool stuff going on at my work. Every summer we do a STEM Leaps and STEM Fire summer camp for high school kids. This is science, technology, engineering, and math, and it's geared towards, the Leaps activity is geared towards law enforcement and public service, and the fire is for public safety and fire. And we do this about every July, I guess end of June through July, and they cover things from forensics to just how the law enforcement works and fire, and everything that they do for public safety and just how their organizations work. And while they're there, they create teams, groups of like maybe 4 or 5 kids in a team, and they come up with a project. And while they're learning about the different aspects of police and fire, they also create a project that they have to, some sort of invention or some sort of new product that has to do with either law enforcement or fire or public safety, and they create this project, and they have to come up with the funding and why they're making this project. And so it's a pretty cool hands-on learning type of environment. At the end of each week, each camp is about a week long, they present their project to a group, to an audience, and to a group of judges, and the judges go through their projects and rate them, and whoever wins can win different prizes. And it's pretty cool because the chief of police is there, the fire chief is there, sometimes the city of Riverside mayor is there, different city of Riverside personnel are there. So yeah, it's a pretty cool activity. I designed this t-shirt, which is the law enforcement version. This has the city of Riverside rain cross here. In the middle there's a kind of fingerprint for forensics, different little icons for science, technology, engineering, math, that kind of thing. And so this year we also did one. I don't have a t-shirt to represent it, but I also did a design for the public utilities, and they had a public utilities camp for the different aspects of engineering, and as far as like water and public utilities go. Here is the design I did for the fire version of the STEM camps. You can see it's got kind of a fire type emblem, and it still has the kind of science and technology little icons in the middle. On the back of all the summer camps we have all the sponsors, and I have to provide all these different logos onto the back. The Riverside Police Foundation, Bourns, Science Technology Education Partnership, Vocademy, which does like industrial designs and just different educational facilities, and Chipotle. And I think this design is actually from last year. This year we also had Starbucks, I believe, and some pretty high-end sponsors. So let's go check it out. This year they had some demos by the fire department. They showed what it was like to have a burning car and rescue a victim from a burning car and use the jaws of life. And they also had a helicopter from the police force of the Riverside Police Force land and do some demos and answering of questions. So come check this out.
So that's what everybody's already did is size up here. You just walk around, they top the wheel so that the car doesn't roll. Because very rarely do we get a car on a flat parking lot, right? On an off ramp or it's on a slope, so we gotta top those wheels. We're gonna break the windows because we're gonna be doing some cutting and removing the patient. We cut that cars off. We call it peeling and peeking. So we're gonna open this door up. So Chris is using the jaws and he's gonna get a purchase point so then he can force that door. Alright? So infantry, $500. Engineer first off, Captain Mathis. They're gonna take care of the patient care. They're paramedics, so we provide advanced life support. Alright? So we're able to give them fluids, IV. Chris is over here, he's gonna open it up. He would be classified as a trauma patient, somebody that got hurt in a vehicle or kind of an accident. So they would make contact with the hospital, let them know, hey, we got a patient coming in, and then they would transfer. I'm going to give them the rundown, and they're going to cart Jerry off to a hospital, and he's going to walk away and be fine. So let's give Jerry a hand. Yeah! Air Rescue 3 and Truck 3, because we're going to move into the high point. Let's give these guys a hand. Good job they've done. From that truck, that rope has to go up and it has to go down the base of that ladder so we don't break that ladder, especially if we're putting a heavy patient in there. After that, we'll walk, go talk to the guys on the roof. They'll make sure that the guys are ready to receive the patient. They'll lower the basket, and the paramedics will put the patient in the basket. Once the patient is simulated in the basket, they'll bring that patient back down to the ground. This is something in the area where we couldn't use a helicopter, but someone's on a roof where it's some type of high angle where we got to get them off, something safer than sliding them down a ladder. Patients in the basket. He's coming on down. That's what we call a high point anchor. If you ever see something like that, that's our technical rescue team or our truck company operation. Give a round of applause for truck one, guys.
So the line is controlled by a handle here. So this controls the line. And then this
stuff, for like satellites and
this is what controls the camera. It's like a entertainment control system.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots and lots of buttons on. And every button does like 3 or 4 things. So we patrol Riverside City, and we have a contract with Corona, the city of Corona, so we do aviation for them. And then we also do some stuff in the county here and there when they call for us.
Yeah.
And we also have an agreement with Riverside County Transportation Commission to patrol all the Metrolink stations in Riverside County. So we basically handle all. There's 7 of them in Corona, Riverside, and down in Paris. So we do all that.
How many crews do you have to fly it?
We have 3 crews right now. Each of the 2-person crew, pilot, and TFO, tactical flight officer. We're slated to have 4 crews, but we're down a TFO, and one of our pilots is out on injury. So, but right now we have 3 crews.
So what did you need to get, like, what kind of, did you need a degree or a pilot license, or how did you get on the department?
So I went to college,
Yeah.
got a degree in criminal justice,
Okay,
and then became a police officer.
okay,
I was a pilot before that
okay.
because
Oh,
I like to fly.
Yeah.
So, but you have to become a police officer before you can get into the air unit.
okay.
So I became a police officer. I worked as a police officer for 5 or 6 years, and then I became a tactical flight officer, kind of a relief guy. When they were missing one, they'd call me in and I'd help out. And then through the course of my career, it's been about 18 years now, got promoted to sergeant, and then took over the air unit as the sergeant.
Wow.
So that's from my end. I'm a airplane pilot, I'm not a helicopter pilot. But when I'm up in the helicopter, I'm doing the tactical flight officer duties in the right seat. For our pilots, they do the same, basically the same path. You got to get hired as a police officer. You got to be a police officer for a minimum of 5 years before you can be accepted into the unit. Once you do that, you have to be a TFO for at least 6 months to learn how to use that equipment. And then if we decide that you're adaptable to it, then we train you to be a pilot. Chris came into us as a helicopter pilot. He flew for RSO for a little while.
Oh, wow.
So he came to the police department, and he was a police officer for us, and then he got into the unit and got trained in this helicopter. So that worked out well.
Yeah.
The tactical flight officer job is actually more complicated than flying a helicopter because you're dealing with up to 7 different radios. You're dealing with the camera, maybe a light. You're dealing with the mapping systems.
Oh, wow.
And then the whole time you're trying to coordinate all that stuff to deal with whatever's on the ground. So it's like, juggling chainsaws on a balancing ball.
Wow.
These are made of 2 people, a pilot and a tactical flight officer. And we call the tactical flight officer the TFO. The TFO sits in the right seat, and he operates the camera, the light, the mapping system, and all the radios. The pilot sits in the left seat, he flies the aircraft, and he helps out operating radios and communicating with different agencies as we move through whatever we're doing. This is a McDonnell Douglas 500E model. It's kind of like the sports car of the helicopter world. It's pretty fast, it's pretty agile. As you can see, it's pretty small. We do mostly patrol with it. So we fly over the city. You see us flying over the city, handling radio calls and helping out where we can. We also do some stuff with the fire department lately because of our new mapping system. We can do fire mapping. So we can fly over an active fire, and with our camera we can videotape the fire, and then on the touch screen up here monitor we can touch all of the perimeter points on that fire, and the system will tell us how many acres the fire is involved in, what the longest perimeter lines are, and then with that picture we can also see what structures might be in danger. So we can radio to the fire department from the air and say, hey, you've got a half-acre fire, over here's on this street is where you need to deploy your assets because you've got a house that's getting close to being burned. So it's pretty cool. It helps out the fire department a lot and gives us something else to do.
So I hope you enjoyed this this week's edition of Clock Space, and please like, subscribe, and share, and thanks for watching.